For my entire adult life, I've been working in one of the most difficult mission fields in the church today, evangelizing youth. The battle is constant and the stats are alarming, with the nuns now the majority religion among Gen Z. For every one convert that we make, 6 more Catholics walk away from the faith, and the vast majority of them are young. We've got a big problem. Why are young people leaving the faith? The simplest answer is because the church has failed to meet their needs. I've met many Catholics who say the solution is more and better catechesis, that if people simply understood our faith, they wouldn't leave the church. The reality is that every individual has different reasons for leaving the church, even the well-catechized. And we can only know those wounds and minister to them if we are willing to grow close to them. Jesus provides a perfect example of this in his interactions with lepers. See, leprosy literally causes people to fall apart and decay, and in ancient Jewish terms, lepers were unclean. But Jesus is not afraid to get close to and even touch the lepers. Instead of Jesus becoming unclean, the lepers are made clean by his touch. Like with the lepers, Jesus comes into our lives, and we, the sinners, are made clean by coming into contact with Jesus. See, nowadays, I meet many Christians who are more likely to keep their distance from sinners than come close to them. But we can't afford to shout unclean and keep our distance, leaving it at that. And here's why. Jesus gave us the commandment to go and make disciples of all nations. This calling is for every Christian. How do we make that calling a reality in our lives? We'll start by taking these 3 tips to heart. First, listen to the other person's story and seek to understand them. This is extremely important. Here's an example. I once met a girl named Julia who was 17 years old and known for her drinking problem, though she told me she wanted to quit. I assumed she couldn't stop drinking because she was addicted to the sin, but I was way off. It turns out her father was absent from her life, her mother was always busy, and her brother was in rehab. And the only people in her life were her friends, who got drunk every weekend. And so she did too. In reality, Julia didn't need help with rehab as much as she needed friends who encouraged her to better habits. If I hadn't listened to her story, I would have never identified the wounds that I needed to minister to. Second, share your own testimony. You should be able to do this in 3 minutes. Casually talk about your relationship with Jesus Christ and how it has changed your life. When the church spread rapidly in the early years following the resurrection of Jesus, it was through the lively witness of the apostles and early Christians. Speaking about your relationship with Jesus and how he has moved powerfully in your life often builds up the kingdom of God more than arguing on apologetics. Finally, and most importantly, pray for those who you minister to. Pray to have a heart of compassion, especially for your enemies, because when you learn to love your enemies, they cease to be your enemy. Your prayers bring the grace of Jesus Christ, which breaks down more walls in seconds than we could ever do ourselves in our lifetime. Jesus never intended us to sit on the sidelines. We must take on his call. Now go and make disciples. I'm Everett Fritz, founder of Andrew Ministries for EDIFY. Thanks for watching this video. Be sure to hit subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss another episode from EDIFY.